Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings, and although much of England and Wales is going to have a very pleasant summer-like weekend with temperatures into the mid-20s, well above average for October, northern areas are going to have a washout weekend, especially a washout Saturday, as we are going to see very heavy rain move in. Now, it's already started, as we see on the live radar, but tomorrow we have yellow warnings quite widely across Scotland, and today we have seen an amber warning issued, as we're going to see pretty much 24 hours of persistent rainfall. So we're not talking about insanely high rainfall rates, we're talking about relatively high rainfall rates, nothing out of the ordinary, but for 12 to 24 hours straight. So pretty ridiculous amount of rainfall could be falling in very localized areas. And in the south, is looking dry and like it's back into July. Now, we'll go beyond that to have a look at the latest UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, covering that rainfall, and of course, those very warm temperatures that could stretch all the way towards Tuesday or even Wednesday. And then we'll finally finish the video by having a look at the longer range to see what is in store as we do head through the rest of October in towards the end of October, where it is looking like to be a bit more changeable, with perhaps some areas of heavy rain around more widely, some stronger winds, and of course there is the risk of some cooler, colder plunges, which we have seen in some of the videos through this week. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see the very heavy rain that is spreading in at the moment, and that is because that very warm, hot air mass is now starting to arrive. Now, over the coming hours, it will become more localised towards Scotland and Northern Ireland, Northern England, and these patches further southwards will dissipate away as the warmer air from the south and the high pressure does build in. But for some of these areas, especially western Scotland, it's going to be relentless, and that's where we have seen the amber warning get issued. Now, temperatures at the moment, you can see quite a big divide, and along the divide is where the heaviest rain is, so near the Scottish borders. To the south, we're seeing the very warm, humid air moving in. Again, temperatures here are higher than there are across France, for example, because we do have more cloud holding those temperatures up. But you can see where the cold front is, or the warm front. I mean, it is technically a warm front because the warm air is moving northwards, so the warm front moving in, and is giving heavy rain further northwards and spreading in that very hot and humid air, which is going to give temperatures that set into the mid-20s through this weekend. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, we do have a yellow warning issued through today. It does expire tonight. Again, it was issued only through this morning, so I haven't been able to update it since the video yesterday. But it's for northwest England, pretty much smack bang for Lancashire. And it runs until 3 a.m. So we've still got about 6 hours of the warning. Further heavy rainfall at times expected this afternoon and evening, which may lead to some further travel disruption. If we do look at tomorrow, though, we've got the widespread yellow rain warning, which was updated today, and it does trim northern Scotland and extend further southwards across southern Scotland, pretty much covering the majority of Scotland, not everywhere, but most areas. And you can see that we're going to see 50 to 75 millimetres over quite widespread areas, and we could see 100 to 120 millimetres over some higher routes. And that's where I think the amber warning has been issued, where it is looking likely we could see 80 to 100 millimetres, maybe 150 to 180 millimetres. That is 10 to 20 centimetres of rainfall, truly huge amounts, and could cause some quite significant flooding. High impact, lower end of likelihood. So there is even scope for this to be upgraded further towards a red warning. But if we were to see a red warning, we would have probably have seen it been issued by now, simply because the lead time is too short. You can see, though, it runs from 3 a.m. tomorrow until 6 a.m. on Sunday, where both warnings do expire. So it's a weekend of two halves, really, and if we do start on the precipitation, you can see for the northern half of the country, it's going to be abysmal. For the southern half, it's going to be pretty amazing. You can see the rainfall spreading in through this evening and pretty much being consistent through much of tomorrow morning, where probably the heaviest precipitation rates will be through tomorrow morning, and continuing all the way into the middle of the afternoon, really not letting up, perhaps coming a bit lighter and more patchy, but overall not really letting up. and then eventually seeing reinforcements of rainfall into Sunday. Whereas in the south, you can see it's bone dry, bit of cloud around, nothing too bad. Into Monday, though, luckily, things do turn a bit drier, so we could actually see the extension of the summery weather further northwards, but after an incredibly wet weekend. And then into Tuesday and Wednesday, we start to see more heavy rain moving in, as we see a cold front sweeping in, pushing the warm, humid air away. You can see a couple of degrees below freezing at 850 HPA, so Arctic air coming in up against North African and Iberian and Mediterranean air, which is slowly losing the battle through Wednesday. Now, if you look at the 2-metre temperatures, you can see that as we head into tomorrow, abysmal across Scotland, 5 to 9 degrees, 23, 24, or even 25 further southwards. Into Sunday, still abysmal for much of Scotland and even into parts of far north of northern England, mid to low teens at best. But the rainfall subsiding, so temperatures slightly higher. Further southwards, 23, 24, 25 degrees possible again. And into Monday, as I said, could see the warmth extend slightly further northwards, seeing more 15, 16, 17s across Scotland. But this is the point where the cold air starts to sweep in. So, slowly losing its intensity this hot spell, maybe 23 or 24 on Monday, and then into Tuesday, again, 24, 25 in the east, but slowly losing its intensity from the northwest. And you can see this by Wednesday afternoon, many areas further northwards and westwards, mid to low teens, back in towards October average temperatures. Many areas further southwards, still hanging on to the warmth and humidity, but slowly losing that battle. If you do check out the longer range, though, we'll be able to see what is in store for the rest of October. You can see the southerly winds coming in at the moment. Northerly winds eventually replace it into next week. Not quite as potent as they were perhaps suggesting earlier this week. So not too bad, but still cooler. And you can see generally cooler, more unsettled pattern in the long term with much fresher westerly winds coming in off the Atlantic, oscillating between cooler and milder air masses, but generally much cooler than we're going to see over the next 4 or 5 days. And you can see the accumulated precipitation is massive, and if we do zoom in, we'll be able to see most over the next 24 to 48 hours. We could see, as I said, well over 100 millimetres, maybe to 150, 200 millimetres, really only in western Scotland, with maybe 40 to 50 millimetres around that sort of bullseye area across the Western Highlands. So it could be some very dangerous conditions for those in that amber warning through the next couple of days. If you do look at the latest GM, again, southerly winds pushing in at the moment. Eventually, northerly winds will replace it. And again, going very cool and Atlantic driven with a bit of Atlantic ridging. Again, not giving us anything that cold, but allowing Arctic air masses to exit out of Greenland and give us much fresher conditions, much colder, cold sectors, let's just say, on the back side of these lows. And it will mean the temperatures will be much cooler. Again, we could zoom in to the United Kingdom here, and you can see midday, we're struggling at 9 or 10 degrees come next Saturday, so probably 15 degrees cooler than it's going to be for tomorrow in the south. So much fresher, showing you what could come as we head into the middle of the month. Now, after you finish the video, but just have a look at the east and west, and then we'll just have a look at the ensembles. Southerly winds coming in, very warm, and then eventually you can see the northwesterly flows come in, very similar to the GM, maybe not as quite a direct northwesterly, but regardless, still cool and still fairly unsettled. Temperatures generally trending average to below average compared to the well above average we do have over the next few days. To finish, if we look at the latest ensembles, you can see that we are well above average over the next 5 days or so, and you can see it holds all the way to around next Wednesday or Thursday, but really does start to lose in intensity around Wednesday as the cold front sweeps in. Do you see a big drop down towards average, maybe slightly below average, and then generally we're hovering around average, oscillating above and below beyond that with lots of precipitation. So you can see a distinct contrast coming next Wednesday as we do sweep the warm summer weather away and truly bring autumn in, and probably bring in autumn to stay now. It's very unlikely we see any more of these late summer incursions. It's happened about 2 or 3 times now through meteorological autumn, but I do think now we are properly on the train heading towards winter. 2-metre temperatures do pick a massive hit. Look at that drop. 22, 23 degrees next Tuesday, Wednesday time. By next Thursday, Friday, 13 or 14, so a massive temperature drop, almost 10 degrees, and again this is in London. It'll be probably more stark in other regions. And again, loads of precipitation. Dew point also dropping substantially from mid-teens, making it feel fairly muggy, down towards the low to mid-single digits. And just to finish, the East WF has even a bigger, starker contrast over the next 5 days. We'll have a look at the midnight run. Again, the midday run hasn't fully come out. But again, a massive drop. Again, going from around 18, 19 degrees in the next couple of days down to 1 or 2 in around 7 to 10 days' time. So much cooler and much more unsettled in the longer term. That's the overall trend, but we have to remember this weekend is going to be pretty abysmal in Scotland with that amber warning, but pretty stunning in the south with the return of summery weather. So wherever you are through this weekend, probably going to see hugely contrasting conditions, depending on, as I said, where you are positioned. But whatever happens this weekend, if you're in Scotland under the rain, do stay safe. And of course, keep an eye on the live radars. That's the best way to know when the heavier rain is moving in. And again, if you're in the south or generally England or Wales and parts of Republic of Ireland, do make sure you enjoy this summery weather lasting probably until around Wednesday quite widely, as it will likely be the last taste of 20 to 25 degree weather we have for probably about 6 or 7 months. So make sure you do cherish it over the course of this weekend and next week. It will be hopefully really quite stunning out there. As I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.